Joel's Vision Ministries, where we learn the how, what, and why of children's ministry, also known as KidMin. I'm Sarah Vitasic. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to put together a children's church service or a children's Sunday school class or any of the events that you like to do with your children's ministry using a curriculum that's already set in stone and there for you, but how to adjust it to your needs. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's go ahead and dive in. This is a curriculum that is already set in stone. So what I want to show you how I work with these things, I always teach my staff, you don't want to take the curriculum and teach word for word. You should never have it in front of you and be reading everything that's on those pages. Even though you know it well, usually you need to make sure that your children see your Bible, but that's what they see, not the curriculum, not your Bible and the curriculum, just your Bible. So what I will do is I adjust the curriculum to our needs as staff, and then I will cut out the portions, like I print and cut out the portions that I need, and I teach from my Bible. So I stick those pieces of paper in my Bible as my notes. So you can have those notes along with you. You don't have to have it all memorized, but you should never be reading from that book word for word. You need to keep your eyes on the children and have good eye contact with them as you're teaching so they know that you're speaking from your heart and from the words the Lord has given you, not words on a page, because anybody can take the words on the page and read those to the children. And that's not what you should be doing in your classes. You need to be speaking from your heart what the Lord has given you to share with your children, whether it's students in a classroom, whether it's all the children in a children's ministry, a children's church setting, or whether it's a big event like VBS or a children's revival, any of those things. So let's go ahead and look at this curriculum here. First of all, a lot of curriculums will have, as you can see, the series aim, what the students will be learning, a memory verse for the unit or the chapter, whatever it is. Bible lesson verse is usually just for this specific lesson. And then this curriculum actually has a section for families. A lot of curriculums do have a teacher devotional. So that kind of sets the tone and kind of gets you into what you will be teaching. This is a supplies list. So these are the different sections in this curriculum. And obviously every curriculum is going to be a little bit different, but you'll find a lot of this same type of outline and layout in curriculum that you purchase. So then, of course, each of these are the different things needed for those sections. Now, this is curriculum set up for children's church. So Sunday school will be a little bit different, but you'll see some things involved in here that might not necessarily apply to Sunday school. So the Excite and Engage is really like your welcome. And this is where you would be welcoming new people, taking offering, singing happy birthday to those who had a birthday. So what I will do is I'll look through this, I'll read through what it is, and here's the application part. There might be videos. These are different media slides here. So there's all different things involved in this. I'll look through this and I will say, okay, we're going to do this part. So I'll number it number 1. And here I will put the staff name. So whoever's going to be teaching this part, I'll put their name next to it. Then I'll move on. Again, same thing, the video introduction, if we're going to use that in this particular curriculum, that's an introduction to what the day's theme is. So I will usually use the same staff that did the opening, and so that will be the same person here. And now a lot of times, I don't like to do worship right now. I like to come back to that. So what I will do is I'll skip that. And here's an opener, and there's option 1 and option 2. So what I will do is then I might choose that as number 3 in our scheduling. I'll put my staff name here, and my staffers know that then they go and they choose either 1 or 2. So I don't necessarily tell them every single thing I want them to do because I want them to put their own personality into this. So, of course, if you're the one teaching it all, then you will choose which part you do. And then we have here is our Bible lesson with our lesson lead in. So these things need to go together. Well, there's some other things that I want to put in before that. Sometimes I might put in, if I didn't do it right at the beginning, I might put in bathroom break as part of this. Now, the reason we like to make sure and have bathroom break is because we don't want the children to go out during this time. I tell them once we get into the Bible lesson and into our altar call and prayer time, they aren't allowed to leave. Of course, if there's an emergency, it happens, right? We're working with children. But for the most part, we try to make sure they go out before that time. We also want to have a puppet song. So we always bring in our puppet song somewhere around here. And then this is also where we would go back to the worship section and we would put our worship in here. Now this, as you see, I'm writing on this. This is all just for my reference, and I'm going to show you what I do with it after that. So this is really not something I have to worry about being perfectly neat for my staff because I'll show you what I do with it once I finish this step. So worship usually includes an action song. We like to get the kids moving because we don't want them to just sit the whole time, because once we get to the message and the altar call, they're going to be really sick of sitting, right? So we do an action song. We might do a fast worship song. We might do a slow worship song. Usually the slow worship song is right before we start into the message. So we might do all of these. We might use the puppet song as the action song. So we might choose an action song for the puppets to teach. We might let the puppets sing with the fast worship song and have the kids worship along with the puppets. The slow song, usually there's not puppets involved because we want the children to focus on worshiping Jesus. We teach them the 4 steps of worship. And just a real quick rundown of what those are. Number 1, you close your eyes and block out distractions. Number 2, you lift your face instead of tucking your head and your chin down. Number 3, you raise your hands. And number 4, you talk to Jesus with a loud voice instead of just keeping your mouth closed. So we teach the children the 4 steps of worship to get them involved in that worship. You have to teach them how. Then we go to our Bible lesson. So our lesson lead in, and we would put our staff member's name here. And then the Bible lesson a lot of times would be the same person as the lesson lead in. It depends, of course, on your curriculum, but most likely it would be the same person. So then we have our Bible lesson going on here. And I'll look through this. There might be different things I don't want to use and I might cross it off, or I just let the staff person choose all of that. So seeing all of this Bible lesson here, there's actors involved here. I might change that to a puppet. There might be actors that I use. Maybe I don't want to teach it like this at all. So I take the entire the verses that are used from the very beginning up here, the theme verses and the everything that they use, the slides, the videos. I might take all of those, but redo my lesson exactly how I want it to be instead of just how they have it right here. Then we have the apply and act at the end. Now, the thing that I really like about this is where you really apply it to the kids, because here, in using the Bible stories, they must and need to learn the Bible stories. But what is it benefiting them if we don't show them how to apply it to their life today? So, we have to make sure that we find a way to bring it to life to them into this modern age. And so it's not just like a fairy tale that they're hearing another one. All these history stories they learn in school and the fairy tales you learn as a little child, the Bible needs to be different. So we need to make sure and apply it to their current life situations. So here again, there's 2 applications. I'll choose a staffer to do this. It might be the same one that was doing the Bible lesson. It might be different. Every week could potentially be a different way. And I let the staffers choose that. And then, of course, we have our prayer. And that's usually the ending of our service. Of course, I always then choose an extra game. Either I choose the game or I just put extra game and choose which staff member needs to have that ready. And I might even do an extra object lesson. And then they could go back up and choose something from above that we skipped, one of the applications that we skipped, and they could do it down here in case we have that extra time. Let's say service runs over and we have a lot of extra time, right? It happens. So I always want to make sure that I have these extra things and someone assigned to them so we never have dead time. So what do I do with this? Once it's all done, I've got all these lines all over everything. Well, I'm not going to send this to my staff members. They have their own curriculum in a digital form or a printed form, depending on their preference. And so they already have this as a whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Word document, and here I'm going to list a schedule for that day. So here will be my lesson title and the date. And here I don't usually have staff list there. Well, sometimes I actually do. And I'll explain that. That's kind of a newer thing I started doing. The reason I do have the staff list right here is because we have a rotation through in our staff. We have our certain young adults and adults that are our main staff every week, but we rotate 2 or 3 young people through on a weekly basis. So here, our rotation is usually for piano, for drums, for puppets, for teaching little things, for doing the opening games. So I'll list all the staff members here so that everybody knows who is up there on any specific Sunday. And then a lot of times we start with an opening game, because if you have latecomers, now our children's church starts right when church starts. So at 10:30 on Sunday mornings, we don't have Sunday school before this. Ours runs from 10:30 to noon, and it's children's church. We have more of our Sunday school type classes on Wednesday night. So you know how you have those latecomers on Sunday mornings? Well, we don't want them to miss the welcome or the lesson intro or any of that. So we start with a game. As you can see, I also have bathroom break right here. We start with a game that is like a relay game, a group game, something that everyone can play that might take up to 10 minutes, maybe even 15, depending on when we start it. And that will usually give time for those latecomers to show up so they don't miss anything. Bathroom break will go here, or like in the schedule, I put it a little later in the morning. And the welcome was kind of like, you can see offering birthdays and prayer, all of that stuff. And then the lesson intro, this is where it starts on the one that I had just written up for you and made a mess of, right? These are then all the different things that I put on that other paper. And if we are using a curriculum that's very specific, since we have so many different staff rotating through, and I might want to use young people, etc., I might put right in here when I'm typing this up the page number. I might put more information like choose option 1 or 2. So it's very clear for the staff that they know exactly what's expected of them. So I make sure I use the title of that section, the page number, and then if there's a choice of what they have to do. For the worship, sometimes I list the song titles. I will make sure and list who's in charge of it that Sunday. You know, if you have the same worship leader every week, that makes it really nice. If you don't and you have rotating youth coming through, make sure you put someone in charge. Otherwise, you'll have a problem with who's going to give signs when you sing a chorus, when you sing a verse, that kind of thing. So make sure that's in there and very clear. Then, of course, we have the extra games at the bottom. We have extra ideas. This is stuff that I like to put in if I can, like countdowns to the opening. If I'm going to do that, I will make sure that it's right up here. It's written up here. And I don't want to, the media person needs to know exactly what's needed. So I don't want to miss any of that. So if I use those extras, I make sure and put them in here. Usually I will highlight the media parts. so that the media person knows right where to look. Again, like the puppet song, of course, is going to be media. Um, so you make sure you highlight those things. The media person's very clear on what's needed. Action songs, sometimes we use lyric videos so they can see them. So it might be pre-recorded. Talent shows. It's really, really fun to find out what your children are learning, what instruments they are learning, or if they're learning to sing, or if they're just a really good singer, or even if they're not a good singer. It's okay to use them. Get them used to being up in front of the other children and enjoy sharing their talents with you. We've started using younger youth for playing piano and drums and any other instruments that you use for the actual worship service. Now, if they're not real confident or comfortable, it can be distracting. So, what I will try to do is have them play one song first. Then I'll have our older, more seasoned musician take over and play the one before the message so that we can get our focus and everybody's really focused on Jesus for the message time. So I believe that is all about putting our lessons together. Again, this is focusing on using a curriculum already set in stone, how to adjust it to your likes. Some of those things that I put in there, you can take completely out. Don't feel like you have to use every single thing in that list. Make sure you adjust it to what you need and what your children need to hear that any specific Sunday. So seek the Lord as you're preparing your classes and your lessons. Make sure you keep your focus on Him and what He would have for you to do. That's all for today. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.